It was a busy day at the Capitol. This afternoon, State Auditor Cindy Byrd released a shocking new report showing tens of millions of dollars in pandemic funds were misspent, and now the federal government wants some of its money back.
Part of that money was used to overcharge the state. Some of it was spent on home renovations, and the auditor says some state officials even gave money to their own spouses. Fox 23 in-depth anchor Rick Marinon is live in studio to break down the new report that lays out the misspent millions. Rick?
Well, the tough part, Byrd says, is that the Trump Treasury Department now says it wants some of the misspent money back. And once they see what we spent it on, they might want us to pay back even more than just the million and some change they initially asked for. Think back to the pandemic. The federal government was giving away cash like candy on Halloween. Now jump to the present, and State Auditor Cindy Byrd released another audit where the state of Oklahoma misspent tens of millions of dollars in funds that were given away like presents at Christmas.
Pre-COVID, we were reporting around $5 million a year in question cost. This year, we're at $93 million. I would just leave it at, I'm alarmed by this number, and we need to do better.
Byrd pointed the finger Wednesday at the Oklahoma Office of Management and Enterprise Services, or OMES, and the Oklahoma Department of Human Services, also known as DHS. Byrd says in total both agencies misspent $93.4 million. She says OMES let a nonprofit contractor run wild and overcharge the state in management fees and other misspending, and when questioned, the agency's previous leadership said it was fine.
Even though it was a pandemic, and even though there was a flood of money, there should have been qualified people who understood what the requirements were and knew how to properly document an expenditure to prove what it was spent for.
Over at DHS, it's much worse. $63.6 million in money that was meant to help families pay for child care and daycare centers to stay open when kids had to stay home, being spent on things like granite countertops, bathroom renovations, and someone even paid off a Cadillac.
In fact, there were several instances of home daycares taking child care development funds and using them for lavish bath or kitchen remodels, some costing between $30,000 and $40,000. Another recipient spent $20,000 to pay off a Cadillac.
Byrd then pointed to one DHS official who enriched her own husband's after-school care business to the tune of $2 million and even took preventative action to make sure the amount could not be corrected.
Applicant 1 is married to the former director of child care services at DHS. She is one of the 4 individuals who helped structure all of the child care development initiatives, and she would have had access to and final authority over her husband's company's application.
Byrd also criticized DHS's definition of what a daycare is and says its 5-star daycare rating system has zero accountability to it even now. Some centers are legitimately good, and others just look good on paper, which led to some getting money to take care of children they either never had or didn't qualify for in the first place. This sounds shockingly familiar. Well, you have heard it before. This is along the same lines of misspent federal education funds given to the state during the pandemic that was spent on video games, Christmas trees, and barbecue grills, and so much more. However, instead of educating kids while they were stuck at home, it was spent on all of that. This, however, is just a different pot of COVID money. Live in studio covering news that matters, I'm Rick Marinon, Fox 23 News.
Auditor Byrd says it will be up to Attorney General Gettner Drummond's office to file criminal charges or not over her findings. She has the authority to investigate, but it's the AG's authority to prosecute.